Good morning, and thank you all for joining another episode of Perfecting the Saints and Edifying the Body. I'm your host, James D. Holliday Sr., and I hope that everyone has had a great week so far. Happy Hump Day. It's Wednesday, the middle of the week, and I pray that you gain strength and momentum moving forward. Do me a favor. We are uh, casting live on multiple platforms. If you are on Twitter, do me a favor. I need you to retweet this to your followers so they can be made aware that we are casting live and can partake of what we're releasing on today. If you are following us on YouTube, do me a favor. Smash that subscribe button so that you be notified every time that we are casting. And also, like and share your comments on YouTube as well. Help us get our reach extended. And if you're following us on Facebook, like, love, and share the broadcast, and help us to reach those that you have influence over on today. We thank you and we appreciate you. Today, I want to deal with a life that commands the blessing. A life that commands the blessing. Listen, the life that you live and the lifestyle that you live is very important. Your life is a book being read of men. And I believe that sometimes how you are perceived can qualify you or disqualify you uh, from supernatural provision. Listen, I want to direct your attention real quick to 2 Kings chapter 4, verses 8 through 10. It said, "And it fell on the day that Elisha passed to Shunem, where was a great woman, and she constrained him to eat bread. And so it was that as often as he passed by, he turned thither to eat bread. And she said unto her husband, Behold, now I perceive that this is an holy man of God, which passes by us continually. Let us make a little chamber, I pray thee, on the wall, and set it up for him. I want to put a bed in there, a table, a stool, and a candlestick. And it shall be that when he come to us, he shall turn in thither." Let me start by saying this. We have to first elevate our perspective of displaying the Father's nature. Our perspective of displaying the Father's nature has to be elevated. Our life goes far beyond a set of rules and requirements uh, based on biblical truths. Now, I believe that our life should have boundaries. I believe that our life should have structure and order, but it goes far beyond a set of rules and requirements for believers, and it definitely exceeds just being something we give effort to as a part of our Christian duty. Today, I want to unlock some of the truths concerning our life's ability to position us for divine intervention and supernatural provision. I believe that this is a season where God's going to do some amazing things, and the amazing things that he's going to do, he's going to use some ordinary people to get it done. How we live publicly and privately carries great weight, and it goes far beyond satisfying the opinion of men. I believe that there has to be a consistency, a synergy, and a mirroring of our lifestyle, both in public and in private. Our life and lifestyle has supernatural ability to connect us with favor that's orchestrated by heaven. There's a measure of favor and a measure of blessings that's directly connected to the quality of life that we present to the world. Catch this. When you live righteously, the right people will notice you. Not only will they notice you, but they'll be compelled to be a blessing to you. Look at verse number 8. It said, "And it fell on the day that Elisha passed to Shunem, where a great woman where was a great woman, and she constrained him to eat bread." That word constrained in the Hebrew, it means to fasten upon. It means to seize, restrain, conquer, cleave, to be constant or to force. She saw Elisha, and because of the life that he modeled consistently as he came through her town, it caused her to notice him, and she forced him to have a meal in her home. When you live righteously, the right people will notice you. He didn't have to worry about lodging. He didn't have to worry about accommodations. His lifestyle got him noticed by a woman who had the resources, the finances, and the influences to actually be a blessing to him. Righteous living, it also provokes generosity. It says in the B clause of verse number 8, "And so it was that as often as he passed by, he turned in thither to eat bread." So every time Elisha was going through, passing through Shunem, he had a place to eat, He had a place to be refreshed, and he had a place to lay his head, not because of a relationship, not because of an acquaintance that he made, but simply because of the lifestyle he lived. And it compelled this resourceful woman to accommodate him every time that he was in her region. Her house and her resources were made available to him. She made sure that he was taken care of whenever he was there. And I don't know who this is for, but it's for those of you that catch it. God is setting up places of refreshing for you, so that when you are in need, you'll have access to resources that will sustain you. Yes, I'll say that again. God is setting up places of refreshing for you, so that when you're in need, you'll have access to resources that will sustain you. There's a dimension of holiness that commands the blessing of the Father. You're about to eat at tables that you didn't prepare. Did you hear me? You are about to eat at tables that you did not prepare. Elisha's righteousness gave him access to what flowed from this woman's table. People know when you're holy. People know when you're shucking and jiving. People know when you got one foot in and one foot out. People know when you jacklegging. People know when you're holy. And some of the most discerning people in the world are the people that are not in the church. You best believe the people that are reading you, the people that are picking things up and discerning things are not in the church. So you got to be mindful of the life that you live, because God is going to use your lifestyle to connect you with ordinary people that have the means and the resources to be a supernatural blessing to you. Verse 9 says, and she said unto her husband, behold, now I perceive that this is a holy man of God, which passes us continually. That word perceive, it means to recognize, it means to know. So she told her husband, she said, I know for a fact that this man is holy. I know that he is holy. So evidently there had to be some consistency and some integrity continually displayed in the life that Elisha lived and presented before them. This woman said, I know that he's holy. I know that he's holy. The word holy comes from the Hebrew word kadosh, and it means a saint. It means set apart morally. It means to be clean. It means to be pure. She said, I know for a fact that this man he's a saint of God. He's set apart. He's morally clean, and he is pure. She didn't just see him as a good person, but she said that he was a man of God. And this is relevant because you got tons of individuals that are good people, but they ain't holy. It's a major difference. Elisha was literally a mobile habitation for the Lord. He literally carried the authentic presence and the power of God merely by the life that he lived on a consistent basis. He didn't have a big old cross around his neck. He didn't have a super fat Bible up on his arm. He wasn't in the clouds every time she saw him speaking in tongues and talking all deep and spiritual. No, he just simply lived a holy life consistently before the people. We've got to strive for being more than just good people, because good people and holy people have totally different benefits. You'll catch that as you're clocking in for work. You'll catch that one on your first lunch break. You'll catch that one. You'll catch that one a little later. Let me prove it to you. Psalms 84:11 says, I am a sun and a shield. I give grace and I give glory. No good thing will I withhold from them that walk upright, which theologically confirms and proves my theory that good people and holy people have totally different benefits. The Father says here through the psalmist that nothing good will he withhold from the holy ones, the ones that walk upright, those who are in good standings and right standings with him. There's a specific, and there's a predestined and prearranged set of blessings and favor that are set aside for those who are holy, those who are upright. Psalms 24:3 says, who shall ascend unto the hill of the Lord? Or who shall stand in his holy place? Just the ones that have clean hands and a pure heart. Everyone doesn't have that privilege. Everyone doesn't have that right. There are people that God wants to use to bless you, but it's going to be predicated on what they see on you. This woman clearly says, I perceive, I know that this man is a holy man of God. She was thoroughly convinced of who Elisha was because of how he was. All right? She was thoroughly convinced of who Elisha was because of how he was. Holiness can be a very, very powerful conduit that connects you to supernatural blessings, but holiness can't be occasional. It has to be consistent. It has to be consistent. Why? Because people are watching you every time. People don't take breaks with watching your life. People are watching you every time. And the reason I know that is because look, verse 9, the B clause said he passes by us continually, constantly, always. And I perceive, I recognize, I know that he is a holy man of God. So the text proves that this woman was watching, she was observing, and she was taking note of Elisha's life every time he came through Shunem. Evidently, this woman saw the exact same behavior, the exact same character, the exact same attitude, and the exact same conversation displayed by Elisha every time she observed his life. People of God, when your life is pure and it's holy, it affects people immediately. It affects their perception. How they see you changes when your life is holy, regardless of what they've heard about you, regardless of what they thought about you, and regardless of what they may have even felt about you in times past. When you consistently live, demonstrate, and display a life of holiness and righteousness, a person's perception of you can't help but to change. It changes their position. How people treat you changes and adjusts when they see that you are a holy individual. People begin to adjust themselves. They begin to adjust their nature, their character, their dealings, and their behavior to accommodate the life that you live. How people receive you. How people receive you. It says that this woman received Elisha into her home. As a matter of fact, she made him come into her home and be refreshed. People will bring you into their intimate space when they perceive and they know that you're holy, and people respond to you differently when you're holy. Your needs are met. People begin to accommodate your needs, and they want to give of themselves and give of their substance to help meet your needs. The text says she fed him. And also, when you're holy, it causes people to regard you a certain way. You know, they honor the quality of life that you uphold. She regarded him. She regarded him in such a high manner that she presented him to her husband and said, "Hey, this is what I would like to do for him because I perceive, I know, I discern that he's a holy man of God." People's posture changes towards you when they know that you're holy. They respect you, they consider you, and they address you a certain way. Your life can make the right people create space for you. I want you to get this because we're living in a day and time where society and social media were presented that you can live any kind of way and still have the same effect and benefits as someone that goes above and beyond in their consecration. No, that's not the case. Your life can make the right people create space for you. And it also can cause you to miss the right people creating space for you. Verse 10 says, we should make a small room. This is the conversation she's having with her husband. She said, honey, we should make a small room on the roof for him so that when he comes, he'll have his own place. We'll put a bed in it. We'll put a table there. We'll put a chair. We'll put a light. And then when he comes to visit, he can stay there. He'll have his own place. Catch this. Preparations for Elisha's future is being made in his now by people of influence, all because his life is right. That is powerful. All because his life is right. This woman made 3 suggestions to her husband. She said, number 1, let's invest in him. We'll construct a room for him. The second suggestion is, let's make provisions for him. We'll provide a bed, we'll provide a table, we'll provide a chair, and we'll provide a light in his own room. The third suggestion she made to her husband is, let's accommodate him. She said, whenever he's in our region, he can come stay here with us in this special place that we've created for him because I know that he's holy. They were willing to alter their lives and their whole living arrangement to accommodate Elisha, all because his life was right. And all I'm trying to say is, listen, your life is a link. It can connect you or disconnect you from the goods. This woman had property. This woman had money. This woman had influence. This woman had resources. And this woman also had vision and discernment. You never know who, what, or where God wants to set you up for a flow of favor in your life. A holy life can unlock doors that contain strange, unusual, and abstract, unpredictable blessings. 5 things. Catch this. 5 things, and I'm done. 5 things were afforded to Elisha because of his lifestyle. Number 1, a retreat for intimacy with the Father. The woman said, let's build him a room. 2, rest from his journey. They put a bed in that room. Catch this. He was coming through a town called Shunem. The word Shunem in the Hebrew, it means a place of double rest. God's releasing people in your life who are stress relievers. Yes, he is. The third thing that was afforded to Elisha because of his lifestyle was resources for revelation. She said, the woman said, we're going to put a table and a stool in there in his own room. God's releasing people in your life that will help stabilize your word diet. The fourth thing that was afforded to Elisha was an atmosphere to replenish his anointing. She said, we're going to put also a candlestick in there. God's releasing people in your life that will serve as a light in times of obscurity. A light in times of obscurity. Listen, I can't finish all this. My time is done. Your life is a supernatural conduit that can and will connect you to supernatural blessings and favor. Live your best life as long as you're living it in, through, and for Christ. And God's going to cause people to recognize you that you knew not of, that are going to be a tremendous blessing to you. Hey, listen, I love you. I appreciate you. And thanks for joining another episode of Perfecting the Saints and Edifying the Body.